Oh, you're hungry? Just pray about it. I mean, Jesus, when he was ministering to the woman at the well, his disciples came up to him and said, hey, we need to get food. It's time to eat. And he said, it's fine. I have food to eat that you don't know about. And he skipped lunch because his hunger was subsided by ministering to the woman. So therefore, when you're hungry, just pray about it. Yeah, that's a really stupid line of reasoning, isn't it? It's probably twisting scripture beyond what it was meant to be interpreted, right? Gentlemen, welcome to the Sons of Strength podcast. Good grief. Sons of Strength podcast episode number 4. This obviously, as I've said in previous calls or in previous recordings, this takes the place of the Forge live call. Probably going to be the last time that I say that, so you don't have to hear that week after week. But takes the place of the Forge live call and instead in the podcast form. You guys pick the topics. This week, it tied between am I marriage ready and why just pray about it doesn't cure anxiety. So 2 really important topics. I decided to tackle this one, the anxiety one first, and we'll tackle the marriage one at another point. Maybe next week, but Landry's going to be on next week, so probably not. We'll tackle something else then. But this is a super important this is a super important topic because Christians have been prescribing prayer for anxiety forever, and yet mankind still deals with anxiety. Believers still deal with anxiety. So that first example that I gave, that was a need of the body that was tried, or that this person that I was imitating tried to meet that physical need of the body with the spiritual mean. You are 3 parts. We need to remember this, gentlemen. You're 3 parts. So you have your spirit, you have your soul, which is your mind, will, and emotions, and your flesh. So spirit, soul, and flesh. The divine part of you that animals don't have, your soul, your mind, will, and emotions, your heart, and your flesh, the physical body that navigates the world. In the first example I gave, the physical need of the body, that person is trying to meet that physical need with a spiritual mean. Now, in the context of hunger specifically, there is a time of fasting when the Lord fills you with what's called the bread of heaven. We're not going to get into the nitty-gritty. We're just talking about, in general, God made your body to eat. You are supposed to eat. It's why you get hungry. Your body will starve. So in preparation for this call, I went back and I listened to my interview of Dr. Josh Williams. Some of y'all know him, some of you do not. But I went back and listened to it because I asked him this exact question. By the way, that's on the Man Meets God show on YouTube. That's the long-form discussions as opposed to the short form that the Sons of Strength podcast is. But I asked him this exact question, and he just gave, honestly, one of the most brilliant answers that I've heard. And he said, if you were out in the desert and you had nothing but the Bible, it's not enough. If you were trapped in the desert and all you had was the Bible wouldn't be enough. Now, automatically, you may have the same red alarm bells that I had when he said that. Even though we understand what he's saying, we kind of run into this kind of like this firewall that goes up for us when we're hearing somebody say Scripture's not enough. Scripture is the power of God unto salvation. It fully equips us to be able to live life godly and to live life fully the way that God intended it to. But Scripture is not supposed to feed your physical body. You're supposed to drink water. You're supposed to eat food. You're supposed to go to sleep. Those are 3 basic needs of your flesh. Remember, your spirit, soul, and flesh. That's of your flesh. This isn't hard for us to understand, right? We understand that we're supposed to, that I can't just pray and be showered and fed and have water and not need to sleep all of a sudden. No, I need to actually do things for my body. But we disconnect this line of logic when it comes to our soul. Your mind, your will, and your emotions have their own needs as well. And anxiety may rest within something spiritual, which means, yeah, dude, you need to address this spiritually and it will resolve itself. But you may have anxiety that's rooted in your soul or in your flesh, which means that spiritual needs alone are not going to suffice. Now, Scripture does tell us, don't worry about anything. Instead, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, make your requests known to God, and then the peace of God, which surpasses understanding, will be yours. So, when you're anxious, you do need to pray. But I would encourage you to do this. Instead of asking God to take the anxiety away, ask Him to reveal where the anxiety comes from, because He will do it. Now, He may lead you to things that you don't want to address. But if you have something in your soul, gentlemen, something with your mind, there's a belief in there that's just, God's like, this belief is causing you anxiety and we need to uproot it. Your mind, your will, perhaps you want something that God's like, this isn't good for you, or vice versa. And, or your emotions. There may be something going on there as well. Perhaps there's trauma that hasn't been dealt with, or a number of things that could be going on there. Or perhaps it's in your body and there's a hormonal thing, or whatever it is. The Lord is going to lead you to the cause of the anxiety. That's why we're supposed to pray about it. And it says with thanksgiving. And you've probably heard that you can't feel anxiety and gratitude at the same time. The same part of the brain that feels those things, it can't feel both of them at the same time. And so it's interesting that one of the things that we do now that's widely recommended is to practice gratitude. You've heard lots of successful people talk about that. Practice gratitude. It keeps the anxiety at bay because you can't feel it. You can't feel both of them at once. And that's exactly what Scripture prescribes. Give thanks to God with your requests, with what you're anxious about. So very cool. But let me take a step back. I'm kind of getting it into the weeds. So what's the real problem with saying just pray about it? So Dr. Williams made it clear. So he said, this phrase is often well-meaning and comes from well-meaning Christians saying just pray about it, but it reduces the complex emotional issues, spiritual and even physiological, that is your body struggles, to a simplistic solution. Just like the, oh, you're hungry? Just pray about it. Oh, you're anxious? Just pray about it. Should you pray when you're anxious? Yes. But we don't want to bypass the deeper process that God is actually, that He uses to bring healing. So Dr. Williams said, anxiety is often a good thing. I'm sorry, he did not say that. He said anxiety is a good thing. It's just when we get stuck in anxiety. Anxiety is fight or flight. God gave us fight or flight. If I run into a bear, I need fight or flight. But to live in fight or flight, to constantly feel like there's a bear about to attack me every day, day after day, is horrible. It's not how you're supposed to live. So people are not anxious because they forgot to pray, though some people may be. They're not anxious because they forgot to pray. They're anxious because something in their body or in their soul is screaming out to be heard. So do you have anxiety that you're taking to the Lord, but it's not going away? Are you anxious? And when you pray about it, it doesn't subside. It's not cured. Well, gentlemen, it is not because you lack faith. It's not because you're not believing hard enough. It's because you're trying to meet a non-spiritual need with a spiritual means. So if your body is hungry, don't just pray about it, feed it. Pray about it too, but feed it. When you're anxious, don't just pray about it. Ask the Lord where it's coming from and let him guide you to where it's coming from, so that way you never have to feel anxious about it again once it's resolved. So I got my notes here. I got way off script, so let me just scroll down my notes. Good grief. Come on. Okay. So Dr. Williams explained that many Christians are anxious because they're disembodied. He says that we are cut off from the wisdom that God encoded in our nervous system itself. There's an amazing book called The Body Keeps the Score, and that is your body and your soul, but specifically your body, it remembers things. Just like you and your mind remember things, your body remembers things too. So when I just found this out like a month ago. This is the dumbest thing. I cannot believe that I actually deal with this, but maybe I shall shed some light on this for you. So I make these smoothies and I drink them for breakfast, and it's like super high protein. Maddox would be super proud of me. It's like 2 scoops of Jocko protein, egg whites, peanut butter protein, spinach, cinnamon, lemon juice, almond milk, all these different things. And I noticed that I started getting really, really bad, like indigestion, heartburn, whatever you want to call it, when I would drink them. I used to drink the whole thing and I feel a little bit of something. It's like, okay, whatever. And then it started getting more and more. And then last month I made a smoothie. I drank 2 sips. And for the next hour, you can ask Kenzie, I kept having to pull over to the side of the road because I thought I was going to throw up because the pain, and it just bubbled up this much. It was that bad. Well, I ended up discovering it is something. I cannot keep my words straight. I'm in a huge caloric deficit right now, so I'm apologizing that I'm a little bit all over the place. But it's something called latex fruit syndrome. Basically, your body freaks out and thinks that there's proteins in those foods that mimic latex, and so your body has a conniption and freaks out thinking it's something dangerous. Well, bananas are super high in that. And I was putting bananas in my smoothie. So whenever I would drink that smoothie, my body would freak out and have a conniption and respond to it. Well, get this. I removed bananas from my smoothie. And the next time I drank it, guess what happened? The exact same thing happened. There wasn't no banana in there. There was actually nothing in that smoothie that was latex fruit syndrome. So, of course, I'm sitting there going, oh, maybe it's not latex fruit syndrome. But after 5 minutes, it completely went away. With the banana, it lasted an hour. Without the banana, it lasted 5 minutes. I was like, what? So we ended up doing a little bit more research, and here's what we found out. My body remembered just how bad it thought bananas were for me. And it remembered how painful my experience was when I ate bananas, that when I drank the smoothie the next time, because when I was drinking it, it tasted similar. It was it was at the same time of day, and my mind knew that I was drinking a smoothie without banana and was kind of waiting to see what would happen. My body freaked out anyway and responded as if there was actual banana in there when there wasn't. And after 5 minutes, it realized, okay, there's no banana, and it calmed down. But gentlemen, my body remembered. It didn't matter if I had prayed about bananas. It didn't matter if I had consciously focused on that smoothie and looked at it and went, this has no bananas. My body remembered. And as soon as that taste hit my mouth, it was like it was go time. It was cranking out those white blood cells ready to go to war. The body keeps the score. Okay. So the things that you've been anxious about before, your body remembers that. Your body cannot tell the difference between a physical threat right in front of you and a threat that's more ethereal, like If I don't pass this exam, I'm going to fail this class. Your body does not know the difference between that and a bear is about to kill you. So in the future, when you approach anything that's like, for example, taking that test, your body's going to associate that with the first experience and get anxious about it. So then what's the cure? Well, when you pray about it, ask the Lord to take you to the root of where the anxiety's coming from. God, I don't even know what I'm anxious about. Or maybe you do. God, I am convinced I'm anxious about this. I'm anxious about this thing right here. You may not be anxious about that. Anxiety is so much more complex than we like to think that it is. A lot of times your anxiety that you're dealing with could be something completely unrelated. One of the most mind-blowing things for me was discovering that the hypochondria that I used to deal with on a daily basis was actually a fear of abandonment. What? How in the world does that make sense? Long story short, I felt like if I caused a medical issue in my life that was my fault, like I did it, it would make me somebody who crashed his life. His life is now different. He's a disappointment and not worthy of being loved. So every time there was something that was negative about my health or seemed to be negative about my health, I'd freak out because every time I thought, what's on the line? Me being alone and unlovable and unable to do things because of this illness or whatever. Your anxiety that you deal with is related to something. If God is not taking it away when you pray, it's because he wants to lead you to the root of where the anxiety comes from. He wants to cure the cause of it. The same way that if you were hungry and you prayed and said, God, take away this hunger. I mean, if you're fasting, maybe he takes it away. But he's going to say, let's get you some food. Let's meet the need of the body. Because prayer alone, the spiritual means alone, is not what I intended for the body to need. The body needs food too. Your soul, your mind, your will, and emotions, they need things too. They need connection. They need relationship. They need to be in alignment with your calling, dude. Your life needs to be in alignment with what God made you to do. And if you're not being the person that you know God called you to be, if you know that you're living in a way that you know he doesn't approve of, and it's just not you, if you're in a career that you know you're not going to be in for a long time, it's just not what you were made to do. If you have intense fear about the future or about relationships or about anything, God is calling you to give these things over to him. So when scripture says, cast all of your cares onto him for he cares for you, and that don't worry about anything, but pray about it and give thanksgiving, and then the peace of God will be yours. Gentlemen, it's not that prayer is a magic trick. It's that the prayer that we're supposed to go about in that instance is not, God, take away the anxiety and help my lack of faith. No, it's, God, please guide me to the root of what is making me anxious, and let God bring healing to whatever is causing the anxiety, because his desire for you, scripture says, I think it was St. Paul who said, his desire for you is that you live in peace. In fact, it was St. Paul. He wants for you to be at peace. He's not going to take your peace from you. Christ bought it for you. So, take it to him. Ask him. And if you need some help, if you need some clarity, dude, reach out to a God-fearing counselor or therapist. Dr. Josh Williams is a freaking legend. He'd be a great place to start. But take it to him. Meet your body's needs in the way that God designed it to. Feed it, clothe it, give it sleep, give it rest, strengthen it. Do those things, but also meet your soul's needs as well. Your mind needs to be sharpened. Your mind needs to be in alignment with who God called you to be. Your will needs to be in alignment. Your emotions need to be calm, and we need to be in tune with them. We need to heal trauma and things that have caused them to get out of whack in the past. Let the Lord bring healing to your emotions. Take your anxiety to him. Love you, gentlemen.